Hello, YouTube peoples. Sorry, I'm looking over there just to checking if everything's recording, because that would be really stupid for me to sit here for an extended period of time in my weird China outfit, because it's a China product, and not record anything. So today, looper switcher time, which is apparently a little bit complicated for many of you. I get so many questions about the loopers and the switchers and what does the trigger do, and I get questions like, does it remember the settings on my pedals? Well, no, it doesn't. And I have this amp switcher here with 5 different options, channels and boosts and everything. Can I switch that with it? Well, if the looper only has 2 triggers, then of course you cannot switch 5 functions. And usually these amp switchers are proprietary, meaning they're using a DIN, D-I-N, plug, or some proprietary kind of plug. So normally you would have to actually make your own cable. But that way you might be able, if the switcher has 2 triggers, 2 switch options, to switch 2 of the options on your amp. So a lot of confusion about these products, and they are a little bit more complicated. So let's look at today's offering, which is the Moen GEC8 Junior. We looked at the GEC8 Live. This is the Junior. I call it the GEC8. GEC8 Junior. The GEC stands for Guitar Effects Commander. I'm a commander. I command the effect. The effect needs to be commanded by me, the commander. Is what, someone would say with an accent like this. So, I put together a neat board. I have the Moen board, it's very nice, the pedal bridge too, but this is actually a competitor's board. It's a Joyo board, we know that, come on. Because I have the pedal bridge together in 2 huge, it's a huge pedal board, and I wanted to build a small one. Because one of the main benefits of the GEC8 Junior is that it's extremely space saving. Look at it, it's really not very wide at all, and actually it uses up about one of the lanes on a normal pedal train style pedal board. So it's definitely one of the most space saving 8-loop switchers that I've seen. It's even so short that I can still put my Strymon favorite switch right next to it, right here. This is not part of the board, the switcher. This is my Strymon favorite switch, which I can use to, switch one of the Strymons. So, very small, very space saving. If you've seen the for example, Carl Martin Octa switch, which is very nice. It's all analog and it's a different concept, very high end, but the Octa switch is huge. It would eat up about 2 of the lanes. So on a pedal board like this, you would almost have no space for your actual pedals. So definitely meant for bigger boards. This is, for this type of board, it's perfect. As you can see, I actually do have 8 pedals on it, large and small, so any average size pedals will fit on this is a 60 by 30 centimeters board, and I also have the tuner on there. So let me go through the setup for you so you know what we're looking at. I'm gonna put the guitar away. So the GEC8 Junior has 8 loops, 7 of which are in series, so you could put those 7 in front of your amp. The 8th one is separate, so you could do really anything with it. I mean, you could do, you could put that in an effects loop. You could actually have a second amp. Let's say you have a little amp like, can you see this right here? Like a little 1 watt Blackheart or something, and you want to use it for your solo sound on stage, but you want to push it with a tube screamer. You could have a second amp with a second pedal in front of it that is switchable. So be creative and imagine what you can do with it. So let's look at these cables. I'm sorry, I gotta talk. So Moen sent me these kind of do-it-yourself cables, which are very neat. They're very thin cables, and you don't need to solder. There's solderless cables. Where you pretty much just you cut the cable, you put it in the plug, and put down the screw, and you're done. For all the cables, I made about 30 of them. They sent me a whole bunch. I had to probably redo 10 of them because the connection wasn't right. But after that, works fine. I would, to be completely honest, I would always have one or two of these as a backup, because it's not, there's no, actual stable connection. If the connection should break, you should have a backup cable just in case. But what I love about these is they're extremely small, and as you can see, very, very nicely laid out, very neat cabling on this board, and they're angled. So let me show you here. That's what they look like. And you can of course make any length. So I made myself a whole bunch of different ones. So 8 loops and then 1. I have all 8 in front of the amp. Okay. For that, what you do is you go out of your output of the actual GEC8 Junior and go back into loop number 8, out of loop number 8, and then back into your amp. So you just pretty much daisy chain the 8th loop. The 8th loop can also be used, and I have to admit I haven't tried that, but it can also be used as a trigger out. So if you only need 7 of them, but you need a 3rd switch, it can be used as a switch. So that's kind of neat. And it has 2 triggers. This pesky triggers, no one knows what they do. In this case, there are 2 mono triggers, which means the amp would have to have 2 mono inputs for switching functions. Alternatively, you could use an insert cable, which is 2 mono to 1 stereo, because this amp has a stereo input, the PRS SE20, which we're using here because it's switchable. The Sur, sadly, just 1 channel amp, doesn't have any switching. So we're using the PRS. And Moen is pretty smart. If you have a stereo input on your amp, you can just use a stereo cable, plug it into trigger out 1, which simply just disables trigger out 2. So trigger out 1 can be used as a stereo trigger for both functions at the same time, which is nice. So you can just use your typical switch cable that goes into your foot switch if it's a stereo TRS, tip ring sleeve cable, and it will work with the GEC8 Junior. So programming is, well, actually let's wire that up. I'll show you because I haven't done that yet. So on one side we have 2 mono cables, which go to the other side to a stereo cable, and this is called an insert cable because it's used on mixing consoles to insert effects. So I'm putting these 2 mono plugs into the GEC8 and this stereo into my PRS, simply because I couldn't find a stereo cable. So right over here we got them in there. I go into the foot switch set and automatically something switched here. So we want to actually turn that off. Where are we? Good. I'm gonna make sure this is all off. Now, as for this board, there's a tuner out, which if you hit this big T thing, that goes to the tuner, and the tuner works. There you go. That's simple. And it mutes everything. So, instant mute, and there's also a little FS on it, which means that's how you program the foot switches. Then you have 4 presets per bank, so 4 different sounds before you have to go to another bank. A, B, C, D, relatively simple. And each of those is also controlling 2 of the loops in programming mode. And it's actually very nice because it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So D would be 1 and 5. Pretty straightforward. And then you have the bank switch. Now it's only a bank up switch. 6 banks. That makes for a total of 6 times 4, which is when we have the 6 and the 5. If we had the 50, that would be then the 5 times the 40. It's 24 different presets. Math not happening. So, 24 different presets on the GEC8 Junior. That's more than anyone needs. Really, I need maybe 6, maybe 8. Usually 4 is, not a bad idea. So I try to stay on bank 1. The drawback definitely, that's the downside, having to step through the banks. If you're on bank 5, there's no way to get to bank 4. Say I'm on bank 5. If I want to get down to bank 4, I will actually have to go step all the way around. But if you do clever preset programming, that shouldn't be a problem. So, in loop number 1, I have the more yellow comp. Compressor always goes first for me. Loop number 2 is, let me see if I'm lying. No, I'm correct. Loop number 2 is the Milos Popovic GEC8 Henning edition. Loop number 3 is the Moval Hornet for a little bit of drive. And loop number 4 is the Milos Popovic GEC8 Germanium edition, which is an insane fuzz. So, review of that coming. Loop number 5, if I'm correct. Yes, loop number 5 is the Milos Popovic. I have a lot of Milos Popovic on the board, simply because I like to say Milos Popovic. Okay? Yeah, Milos Popovic custom effects, huh? It's so good. I don't know, I think that's Italian. I'm trying to fake an Italian accent. He's from Serbia. How do you... I don't know, Serbian. It's so good, huh? Is that Serbian? I don't know. I'm not very politically correct here. Anyway, Milos knows his shit! His pedals are the bomb, as they say in my hood in China. Oh, where did my pick go? So very nice analog delay with 600 milliseconds, which is going to be tested like crazy! After that comes the Brigadier from Strymon, analog delay. Then the Strymon Orbit Flanger, and then the Strymon Big Sky in loop number 8, but again, it's all in front of the amp. Big Sky reverb, if you want a reverb that can be creatively used, this is the one to get. Of course, you have to be mad to spend the Strymon money, but you'd be smart to do it because they're incredibly good effects. So, let's look at this. Sound number 1 on the GEC8. Not sound number 1, sound number A, preset number A. I'm stuck. The compressor going into the deeper blue delay from Milos Popovic, going into the Strymon Orbit, going into the reverb. Beautiful. Sound number B is just the Hornet. Sound number C is Elite Sound with the GEC8 and the Brigadier. sound number D is the Gainiac Germanium with, I think, the deeper blue delay, a little bit of it. So, one thing that it cannot do is actually give you bypass. What if you want to go straight to your amp? I can't do that right now. Moen guys, come on, give me bypass option. So let's say I hit A again, nothing happens. Would be nice to just have the option to turn it off completely. If you want a bypass, what you have to do is program yourself a preset that has no loops active, which of course eats up a whole preset to bypass. You might want that, you might not want that, but if you want that, you cannot do it. So you might have to go to bank 2, sound number A, and then program a bypass, which would be like so, and then there you go. So bank number 1. Here we have our clean sound with all of the stuff. And here's just my clean sound. Okay, and you've seen some of the programming that I've just done, but let's go into it. I go to bank number 2. A is my bypass, and we're gonna leave that. And on number B, I wanna, let's see, I want the Hornet and the deeper blue delay and the Big Sky. Let's put that down there. So I hit this bank program switch a little bit longer till P shows up. Now, a red P means I can... red P. It means you should go to the doctor. Come on, red P. When you have red P, you should go to the doctor. Screw you. That was funny. So, red P means I'm programming loops 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you hit this bank switch again, but only shortly. And it switches to a green P, which means I'm like 5 years old. You should then you can do the other 4 loops, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can just switch back and forth. So let's see, there is loop number 7 is on, so I have to be on green. And actually these lights show you in green and red which loops are there, so it's easy to show. These lights correspond to the loops. So right now I want this off. And if you want to program the switches, you hit the T or foot switch button, and that just cycles through options for the switches. So right now I want them all off, which shows you I'm on my clean channel. So if I hit it once, that probably means that the reverb now is on. Let's check that. Whoa. That's my reverb on my amp. Another one goes to distorted without reverb. Both on would mean distorted and reverb on the amp. And both off is pretty much what we want right now. So I wanted the deeper blue delay in the Big Sky, which in this case is 5 and 8. So I'm already on green, which means the upper loops. So I go to 5 and 8. I go back to my red P, and I want number 3. That's 1, 2, 3. It's on. Hold bank longer. Done. There's beeping going on all around this place, which is probably Facebook people bugging the living crap out of me! But hey, feel free to write me on Facebook anytime. No, seriously. I'm always up, to answer questions. Not that I know shit. Well, that's a nice sound. Need some volume. Technically, that's really all you need to know. There's one extra loop that can be used in the effects loop or somewhere else if you wanted to. But it can also be misused as a third trigger. There's 2 triggers already installed, which means you can switch, as you've seen, let's say here, the channels or the reverb. And that can be stored with any preset. And there's 7 straight loops. That's it. A very small footprint, which is great. And as far as I know, it retails for under 200 euro. I think it's 199. So don't name me down on this. Those prices change daily. It's like I give you a price and I check online and the price has changed. But I really like it. It has, like every looper, let me put that out there, like every looper that I've seen, it has disadvantages. Every looper that I've seen has something that it does stupidly, has something that it cannot do. Kind of like people, we're all not perfect. But, for example, this one does not have a bypass, which would be nice. This one goes through the banks only upwards, not downwards. Obviously, a down bank switch would mean another switch, and then you're adding size to it. So there's always a drawback, a back and forth between how big is it going to be, how many features am I going to put in. I'm thinking for the price and the size, the price and the size, the features on this are great. It's very easy to program, very straightforward, and it does a great job. So I actually developed a series of looper products in my head. It's about 12 of them. And if you combine these, if I can find a company to actually build those, it would be the most flexible looper system on the market and affordable. So if you're a company that builds loopers, hit me up, let's talk. Because it could be awesome. So, that's it from the Chinaman today.